Well, here's a little article from Screen Rant. Suggests that Star Wars' new Return of the Jedi sequel confirms Disney's Episode 7 mistake. What? Return of the Jedi sequel? Oh, Mandalorian and Grogu. The sequel revealed one of the biggest mistakes Disney made with Episode 7. Most of the upcoming Star Wars movies, including The Mandalorian and Grogu, are set to move away from the sequel trilogy's timeline. Instead, The Mandalorian and Grogu will take place during the New Republic era, in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi. Well, the whole series took place in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi. That's set. You didn't know that? Though it takes place before Star Wars The Force Awakens, The Mandalorian and Grogu is actually set to change Episode 7 forever. Really? They're going to do some time travel and make sure it never happens? Oh man, now I'm excited for this movie. The sequel trilogy was famously divisive, putting it mildly, though lucrative, diminishing returns. And Star Wars has mostly avoided them in the years since Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I wonder why. Why would they? I mean, they were lucrative. Why would you? Now, however, The Mandalorian and Grogu could fix one of the sequel trilogy's biggest mistakes. It's funny, I used to praise it all the time, and now it's okay to say, yeah, it wasn't all that great. The newest trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu revealed a massive part of the movie's plot. In the trailer, Colonel Ward, Sigourney Weaver, tells Din Djarin that his mission is about preventing another war. Since The Mandalorian and Grogu will take place in about 12 years after the Battle of Yavin, and since Din is hunting down the Imperial remnants, it's clear that Ward and the New Republic are trying to prevent the Empire from restarting the Galactic Civil War. Yeah, that's no shocking reveal. In fact, again, elements of that was in the series. So, been there, done that. The trailer also revealed a bit about how Ward is going about preventing that war and what she needs Din for. Din mentioned that he would take out gangsters, war criminals, and other high-value targets for Ward's deck of cards. It seems to be the same strategy the United States used during the invasion of Iraq, where soldiers were given a deck of cards with information about the top members of Saddam Hussein's government to more easily identify them. Based on that strategy, Ward is using Din and potentially other bounty hunters like Embo to hunt down important members of the Hutt cartel and the Imperial remnant. The theory is likely that by destroying the leadership of the cartels and the Empire, the New Republic will be able to prevent the Empire from mounting another offensive. Clearly, The Mandalorian and Grogu is doing a deep dive into galactic politics. And what the hell are you doing here, Ren? Now that The Mandalorian and Grogu is diving so deep into galactic politics after Return of the Jedi, it has highlighted just how The Force Awakens did the same. Episode 7 completely disregarded the galactic politics of Star Wars. All it revealed was that the First Order rose from the ashes of the Empire and that the Republic had returned after the Empire's fall. From there, The Force Awakens is just the Empire versus Rebels again. With new Nick, yes, that's the problem with it, and no amount of backstory is really going to fix that. I mean, it's another way of saying, yeah, well, the rebels failed. They were losers because you can call it First Order, but it's still the Empire. What does that look like? Hey, they look like they're from the Empire. Yeah. What they really should have done was set up the villains as a terrorist organization. Instead, you have the Empire with far superior weaponry and manpower than the Republic has. 30 years later. Yeah. It's pretty stupid. But now trying to, hey, we'll lay some groundwork that the trilogy forgot to do to try to fix this. Try to paint around the edges. And, it's like, hey, this is a great pot of soup. Unfortunately, there's a rat turd in the middle of it. Well, just spoon around it. No, you got to throw the whole thing out. and start over, you know? The Force Awakens basically pretended like nothing at all happened until Ben Solo's confrontation with Luke Skywalker at the Jedi Academy. The sequel trilogy had no interest in explaining what the New Republic was like, how the First Order actually came into being, or what happened to the Empire after the Galactic Civil War. Yeah. It's a little late to do that now, and First Order's a bad idea anyway. Anyway, even the supplementary materials for the sequel trilogy only do half the job of explaining the galaxy's politics. None of that stuff counts. What, video games and comic books? No. Bloodline examines the political makeup of the Galactic Senate in the First Order's emergence, but only in 28 after the Battle of 28 years after the Battle of Yavin. Comics like The Rise of Kylo Ren it's not canon. I mean, they do these all the time. They're never really referenced. So you're wasting your time. I mean, if it's good art and stuff and you enjoy the individual story, then, that's something. So, to the Star Wars sequel trilogy, it's like galactic history and politics took a 25-year break after the return. Yeah, well, it doesn't resolve the main problems of this whole sequel trilogy thing. Star Wars has provided a lot more context for the sequel trilogy in the years since The Force Awakens was released, but it was almost entirely through the Mandoverse. Yeah, because this is a terribly failed endeavor. So, Empire survived and laid the groundwork for the First Order's eventual return. Ahsoka took a look at the New Republic's inner workings and explained why it would eventually fall. The Mandoverse did a better job of setting the stage for the sequel trilogy than The Force Awakens ever did. Well, The Force Awakens failed to explain any of the context of the galaxy's politics. Yeah, it failed to explain a hell of a lot more than just that. So, Mandalorian and Grogu can't fix that. They can't polish the turd. The new context the Mandalorian and Grogu is going to add to the New Republic era also retroactively make The Force Awakens a better movie. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. So, any amount of backstory given to a terrible plot to begin with, there's no way that fixes that. So again, you're asking me to spoon around the turd in the soup. Well, I'm not gonna do it. And there's really no fixing what you did to this guy. No fixing at all. So it was a moment in time, almost an actual Beatles reunion, And you couldn't do it. So instead, Han Solo's a deadbeat dad. Luke Skywalker thought about being a child killer, How do you get there? But that's what they did.